Thank you very much. My name is Sebastian. I run Adamar Labs. We're a boutique security audit firm. We do formal verification, fuzzing, continuous security, and all the good stuff.
Yeah, my name is Steffen Kux. I'm co-CEO from Corpus Core. We are right now building technology, core technology. I presented in the morning to verify and to make our transactions secure. Yeah, I started early in 2017, right after the DAO. So at Slockit, which is known for the DAO, so I'm very, not connected to a lot of security things.
Hey, my name is Chris, and I'm from L2Bit. And if you don't know it, L2Bit is a community watchdog that is overseeing Ethereum layer 2 infrastructure and all the technologies involved. So interop, ZK, DA, and we assess the security guarantees of those technologies to see if they actually do inherit Ethereum's security. So, like, to dumb it down, like, if ever you saw like stage 1, stage 2 roll up, it's us who define it, and it's us who decide who get the badge.
Hello everyone, I'm Dmytro. I'm CEO of HackingProof, 9 years on the market already. And we actually, first of all, bug bounty platform, one of the biggest in the world. And so hackers submit reports and get rewards. And also we build in parallel crowdsource audit marketplace. That means that everyone, including audits firms, as researchers, developers, they can actually participate, gain some points, leaderboard, and actually then participate by providing services for you. So you can actually have reports for penetration testing, for audits, and etc. And also, for example, you can find CISO, CTO, and we don't charge for that through our marketplace, or get proposals from different providers, let's say for SOC 2, ISO, etc. And we also don't charge for that. So our goal is to build crowdsourced security marketplace, and of course VC focus from Web2 is coming as well. And yeah, just working for the community.
Hi, I'm Riptide, or Justice Hanna, CEO and co-founder of Grego AI. We do AI audits. We do AI security services to protect the blockchain from black hats. I'm also a top-ranked bounty hunter. I've been doing this quite a long time, so great to be here today. Thanks.
One of the first questions that I want to start this panel with is regarding what happened just last month. So April 2026 was recorded as the worst month in crypto security history, based on what Google says at least, with over 24 breaches and over $600 million lost. What do you think is the systemic failure you think the industry still refuses to acknowledge nowadays? Anyone can start.
I'll start. I think the biggest thing is something we've been talking about in the industry for a long time, which is trust assumptions. It's not like these we could talk specifically about Kelpdell and Layer 0, but these are assumptions that as security researchers we saw, and these were flagged in the community, and these are written off by the protocol teams, and there's nothing much you could do from a third-party perspective other than recommend, make your recommendations known, and then we could just hope that these are adopted. Bounties won't pay out for these kind of things. We report these, and these are closed as out of scope. Same with centralized ownerships or proxy upgradable contracts. And the whole issue is we have the tools. We've had the tools for years, for 5, 6 years, 7 years now. And it's about teams wanting to adopt these tools and actually putting the cryptography in place that's designed. The safeguards are there. Just we need humans to honestly stop being lazy and just use the protections that have been designed by some of the greatest minds in this industry. And that's it. That's all we ask for.
Yeah, so I can power this. In the Web3 world, we actually often act a little bit childish. Now, only if there's pain, we solve something. And when we see at these hacks in 2026 and 2025, we see a lot of things which, as Riptide said, could have been prevented because we have the technology. So, and I think what really is needed now is that we see what are the ethos, what are the characteristics of Web3, and that we then start using this, not being lazy or being comfortable using what we have done always, because it worked, it should work in future as well. That we must stop to have trust assumptions. We must stop to build on hope. We really need to see what can we verify, where do we need to add additional tools to make it secure.
Yeah, I also want to add here that we, as a bug bounty platform, we work with many guys like Nir, Sui, Ethereum Foundation, and Riptide is totally right. Some bugs actually are close, like out of scope, yeah, and not included. But also you have to understand that many projects, and it's not only about protocols, it's exchanges, for example, they have, I would say, a list of services they have to gain in order to get a rating score somewhere, but they don't care much about scope that is included, or they try to include only hollow scope and not like worrying about everything. So people actually might be a little bit like lazy to do some stuff until someone is pushing them. Yeah. So for example, if regulators is asking for having one, I don't know, proof reserve or penetration testing report per year, they will do only one and not more. So if actually, and what is this report? They will just do this report, prepare a report, and everything that is go after this report, like any changes, they're not worried about these changes, they not review, and etc. So as guys already mentioned it, we have solutions on the industry. Yes, AI like hurts us, but actually, first of all, currently we have results on not using some solutions that exist. That's all.
Yeah, like, so I can only agree with what my colleagues said before, but I would like to also say that in order to improve things, we need to do better. And not like we as builders, we as users, like you guys need to do better. We need to stop accepting bullshit, really. For so many years, I've been told, like literally a year ago, I was sitting on a very similar panel about security in the interop, and I was being told that the only things that users care about is speed and cost. And if the only thing that you actually do care about is speed and cost, then you get layer 0 exploits. Because it's not that we didn't know about vulnerabilities in layer 0. Like I wrote an article 3 years ago about lack of security in the layer 0 framework. Not the layer 0 itself does not guarantee any security guarantees at all. You have to design them yourself, and actually if you don't, then your infrastructure is in a really bad shape. And what happened? Basically, layer 0 pushed back on us, which is understandable. Like, I don't blame layer 0. I actually respect the team, but they are running their own business. So if you guys accept the fact that they are, selling you bullshit and you don't call them out on that, then it's your fault. So in order to improve, we need to stop accepting this bullshit. We need to stop accepting the fact that it's okay for us to be using simply just some EOA to transfer funds. We do have better technology, but you know what? It's expensive to build better technology. It's expensive to run better technology. So if we are not willing to pay for better security, we'll be sold over and over again on the bullshit technology, which will cause us pain in the future. Because if we accept the multi-sig driven infrastructure from top to bottom, then we will wake up in a world that the most common bridge being used will be Western Union. Because how do they differ from those stupid protocols that are just EOAs pushing funds from one side to another? We need to do better. We need to accept less shitty stuff. That's my call to action.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I'm going to not pound on layer 0 anymore. I want to talk about a different hack that happened last month, which was due to operational security. I don't know if people here know this protocol in Solana called Drift, and it was responsible for 1/3 of the amount lost last month, so around 200 million. It was a very sophisticated hack, and I guess to answer your direct question, what of the systemic risks in Web3? It's the Lazarus Group. I think like if they target one particular protocol because they have a lot of TVL or a lot of volume, that protocol is in trouble. So we all have to work together to make things secure. The hack that was executed on Drift, if people here don't know it, it was a more than 6-month operation where the actual attackers met their victims at Token 2049 in Singapore last year. They shook hands. They said, we're integrators. We want to integrate with your protocol. They deployed $1 million worth of assets into Drift as a customer. They had a relationship for over 6 months. And at some point, one of those guys who they trusted at this point sent them a repo. And the only problem was that the laptop which was used to open that repo was the same laptop that person was using to sign a multisig that was able to transfer all the funds from the Drift treasury and the Drift smart contracts. So I guess I put it in a nutshell, but that's the level of sophistication that the Lazarus Group has. And I think the operational security risk is nothing to sneeze at, and I'll be talking more about that in my talk tomorrow.
Can I follow up with one more thing there?
Please.
Just thinking about, so you have great points on the OPSEC, and like I just think about it, like how do we prevent this? If the protocol teams don't do it, then how does the user base do it? Because in traditional finance, if you go deposit to JP Morgan, I mean, you have insurance and everything, but you don't really care about their security. You just like, okay, my stuff's insured. But in the blockchain, we may not, the guy who deposits into Drift doesn't have the technical know-how. Some do, but most probably don't, to assess that kind of risk. And even with layer 0, like who's got the time as a capital allocator to dive into like all the tech details to determine if it is indeed safe? Like, what are the trust assumptions? I think you do great work at L2Beat with this, but it's still like highly technical. And how do we get the layman, and should we have them accept, be able to accept some sort of risk knowingly versus, the traditional finance model, which you have an insurance product that backs it. So I don't know the answer to that, but something we need to think about.
Why do you think then we keep putting money into the same thing if we all have to do better? And at every single talk, we all say we have to do better.
Actually, yeah, I don't say that we put money there, yeah. So usually how it works, and so in industry, we have some grants, especially when new protocol appears, they give grants, and you guys trying to build a new things. This is quite often that is happening, and for example, Canton Network, they also have a new language which is DAML, yeah, and they're looking for specialists and etc. They try to build. There will be, might be, okay, not the statement, but might be issue because of new technologies and everything around, and etc. And these young guys, people without expertise, building something, they release, and only that they care about first hack, about having some audits, and it's not about even operational security. They can do, for example, audit for smart contract, but they don't care about other part. How they operate, where they store, what else they need. Is it just one smart contract or they have more stuff? What is coverage? Yeah, as actually Krzysztof mentioned in one his talk. What is coverage of this? So I would say business put money in order to develop their own business, and probably they have to have more restriction how to get some grants or how to use these grants. I would say some kind of checklist. But if it's possible to control each company who built on top of your technology, I'm not sure. Are you ready to control, 10 projects and each person in the product? Also not sure. So I do believe that if you owner of the business and you have risk, you have to understand how to control this risk and build your own checklist, security assessments, and etc. And of course, users need transparency. So if you know way how to check the coverage of projects or the, I would say, procedure, how they proceed with that, it would be great to find this way.
May I add something? I think everyone, each one of my co-panelists mentioned a slight thing which I wanted to double click on, and that is something that has to do with regulation. So, to basically answer your question about why do people keep on putting money into something like DeFi, which is risky, I think that's not the problem. Maybe one of the core problem or one of the big helpers would be regulators, because now, we have MiCA, which focuses a lot on tokens. I think we need to have something that focuses on security of on-chain contracts. So not regulating the financial aspect, but the security part of it, and basically asking protocols to be, forcing protocols to be more mature and have a SOC 2 or ISO 27001 to make sure they have good operational procedures in-house, to make sure they have a legitimate audit and didn't just, get someone to sign off of it and give them a rubber stamp. So all that stuff could be enforced by regulators all over the world. Of course, since we have so many jurisdictions, it's hard for all those regulators to coordinate on a common legislation. But I think if regulators would come in and they would have solid legislation, say, hey, you're going to go to jail if you just deploy a DeFi protocol that is not properly secure and doesn't have all the bells and whistles, then we would see less of these issues, or maybe a few less issues like we've seen last month. That's my impression.
Yeah, when we compare the banking systems and our newer DeFi systems, we can see if you want to build a banking product, it's very, very complicated. If you one day work with a bank and you wanted to integrate a new library, this takes weeks, months until you can do it. So it's good that we in Web3 doing things very quick and testing things. But as soon as we start to build products and protocols which have a lot of money locked in it, we cannot go on this easy way to say, okay, it worked, so we just try it. Then we need to be more adult. We have to stop testing things and then start really building on security tech. This is not an easy change, because a lot of the things we accomplished in Web3 were because we did things quickly and we failed at some points. But now is the time that we have to grow up and really think, okay, what is really needed to make the security working so that we can compete with security applications like banks and so on.
So, answering your question, why are we putting money all over again? The answer is easy. We are greedy, and that's in our nature. So we won't stop doing this. The only thing that we can do to counter it, we can at least expose the risks that we take. They are usually out there. Projects like ours, but not only us, but like projects like ours exposes those risks. So, like, if you want to help, like, we just recently published the information about Gnosis Chain and the risk assumptions behind Gnosis Chain and how it operates in the interop. Like, if you want to help, go to Twitter, go to L2Bit account, subscribe for news from this account, and hit smash quote tweet on our recent post. This would help a lot, because like just spreading your word to make people aware of what are the risk assumptions and security guarantees is already at least, one step forward. Because I'm sure we'll never get rid of being greedy, but at least we should make informed decisions. And also we should also call out all those honeypots out there that they should do better. Like, for example, I love Hyperliquid. But, Hyperliquid is a honeypot. Like, from my perspective, it's a honeypot. Like, it's asking to be hacked. Literally. Like, there is so much money in there that I'm sure that all those sophisticated actors that are becoming much more and more sophisticated, they will try to find a way to, make use of it. Because why not? Especially that, in crypto, they can easily then run away with their money. So, yeah, like, we need to just talk more about it, speak more about it, and be less afraid of calling out obvious risk vectors. And before I pass it on, like, we've got a question from the audience.
Thank you. So I do think that we definitely need to call out bad projects, but there's been way too much complacency among the technical people, where we're just unwilling to be negative. This is a massive cultural issue now, especially in Web3, where we're just absolutely unwilling to be negative as a culture. And I call out other projects that do not implement the cryptography they claim to implement, and I get lots of hate. I get death threats as a result. And I'm okay with that because nobody else is willing to stand up and call out that they're not even using the cryptography that they claim to. And that's our fault collectively. That the people in this room, we have done this wrong. We have to, actually say this is bad, not just here, but professionally. Do you guys think that we can change this as a community?
I cannot agree more. And one thing that I would like to add, that the way I approach it is I try not to say that those projects are bad or evil, because I also have some empathy to them, but we need to be honest about what it is. And if it is a multisig on top of a multisig, let's call it like that. Not like, I accept the fact that not the whole world is decentralized, but let's be honest with how decentralized it is and what risk vectors are there and what security guarantees are actually in place. Being honest is enough. We don't have to be negative, but we need to be loud about it.
Yeah, no, great point. And when you do bring it up, they smash you. They got the calls, you got the investors for the product, you have everyone that'll come all on you for reporting it honestly and saying the truth. So I appreciate you doing that. You're a rare person in the community. And that is what we need. We need more transparency. And I think, there's different ways to look at it as well. Like, if you're an investor in TradFi, you look and you want to buy bonds, you have a rating agency, and for all of its flaws, you at least have some sort of transparency on the investment and the risks. In DeFi, we have L2Beat, we have some startups like Core3. They're trying to bring those TradFi metrics to the usual investor. But I'm not talking about like the investor that wants to put a couple thousand in. Like, these institutional investors that are putting in millions, that's a lapse on your own security. If you don't have an internal audit or a security partner to evaluate these investments for you, and if they're giving you the straight facts and saying, hey, look, this is centralized. These guys can pack up. They're 3 of 6 multisig and bail with all your funds. If they're willing to accept that risk, fine. But as long as they're aware of it. But we're normally talking about institutional investors. Like the Drift hack, I bet, was comprised of the majority of maybe 200, 300 investors, the bulk of the funds. And these guys made that decision to put the capital there, probably knowing the risks, I would imagine. And if you didn't, well, you're irresponsibly playing with your client's money.
Can I tell just not funny but real story? If you check token 2049, I was sitting with CEO of Drift on a fireside chat and discussing security issue. And so when you talk about something or promising, I don't know, your wife or families, and it's about your future house, just try to do this. So same here. If you feel that something is missed in security of projects that you use, or maybe in your smartphone, or you cannot trust your smartphone, just do it as soon as possible. Change the application, change smartphone approach, and etc. Don't wait 1 week more. If you didn't set up two-factor authentication in Telegram, just do it. If you don't trust Telegram, use Signal. So first of all, try to do best as soon as possible. So same with the projects, yeah. If you get money or you feel that, okay, I don't care that I will be, for example, hacked, but I believe that the biggest problem that I will be hacked when I have some money from community, etc. Yeah. So big risk is money. How I actually protect this money? By my operational security, personally, or etc. I also give one more story. We have a client who actually had exposure one of wallet, yes, and founder of this company just wrote me, say, "Hey, Dmytro, it's not your problem, it's my fault, and just it was my key leakage." And me like, how it's possible? I mean, like, really, how it's possible? So that is why probably have some rules for yourself if you cannot, I don't know, follow some checklist and etc. If you open GitHub repository, maybe open on another laptop to not have sensitive data. And everyone, maybe you have calls with those different guys, VC, interviews, and etc. So as I mentioned, we posted jobs on our marketplace, and one of company like say, "Hey, I see you helped to find CTO and CISO for a Spain-based company. Could you help also to find us CTO?" And I mentioned, of course, let's go for the call. We had a call. He was talking about actually what they do and etc. And then he asked me to go to his GitHub and actually, you can actually try some stuff at your computer and say, "Man, I will not do this." And then actually, it's real story. So in LinkedIn, the guy actually pretended as another guy. He was going to interview about CTO, someone in trying to scam and offer a job and trying to check immediately how this guy is a good as CTO, for example. And yeah, so lots of scammers, lots.
Just wanted to also come back to your question. I think like the community is not bad-mouthing projects because it gets into this toxic he said, she said, or he said, he said discussion, right? So if you say a project is bad and call them out, there's going to be 1,000x more people coming and saying, no, he's lying, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So it's just sort of like a useless fight on social media. I think, again, sorry for sounding like a broken record, we need someone who's like a recognized authority in a particular state that can come and actually verify the claims that you make, that someone's not using proper cryptography. So you shouldn't be necessarily forced to go to social media and badmouth a project. You can report them to someone like an authority that can then do their check and see if that project is not using that particular crypto primitive like they're supposed to.
Who's this authority? Like, there should all be public source.
There's no authority right now, but like I think as we have like the example with banking we just heard, with banking is regulated in every state. The same way DeFi should be, at least from a security perspective. I'm not saying we should centralize DeFi or anything. There should be some kind of cyber authority or financial authority that can actually regulate the way in which these companies do security, right? If it's fintech, right? DeFi is fintech. There is an authority that regulates fintech. Now, I guess there's no qualified personnel that can currently check the state of DeFi projects, but maybe they should have a department that can do that, maybe with the help of auditors, right? They would employ independent auditors to check those things. But I guess getting into a fight on social media will not actually result in the solution, maybe in some cases, but if you have someone who can enforce this and really like, you know, keep those founders that are irresponsible accountable, then you could have more secure projects. Because right now there's no accountability for those founders except for VCs not giving them money when they start their next project, right?
Yeah, all right. So you have VCs that could hold them accountable, and ultimately you vote with your dollar. So people should not invest in these protocols. This is DeFi. There should be no authorities, no centralized authority. This is the market. We have open source. You want to decide, you decide to put your capital there. But all I'm saying is you need to educate people on the risks. If your OPSEC sucks, just the more transparency we have, the better. But the last thing, and I have to have a counterpoint on this, is I cannot agree at all to have the government involved. Of which country? Like, I don't want any of these bureaucrats involved in regulating what we built as a group just because we have some problems with it. Like, we can fix this rather than bring in that complete mess.
I absolutely agree. So I'm not a friend of too much regulation. It's not because I think all the regulators are bad, but when we look, so I'm from Germany, I know what bureaucracy means. So, I have a colleague. He is now building a token completely MiCA compliant. It's insane. Now you work for months and months to fill papers and whatever information they want. If this makes it more secure, I don't know. So if I look at some of the regulations in the European Union, the AI Act and whatever, I see a lot of things which are maybe not bad from the idea, but the execution is not really good. So I think what we really need, we have decentralized protocols. So we need such transparency, things like L2-beat or wallet beat. So things where we really benchmark our solutions so that we can see what technologies are used, what are only claimed to be used or not even tested, so that we see what protocols or what applications are using the technologies which are available, so that we then can do a kind of rating, so that we see, okay, this is the current state of the art in the technology, and who is really using it and who not.
I also want to say that many things we underestimate. So let's say, just imagine for a second that your Telegram can be hacked, yes? What do you think? Like, oh my God, my Telegram will be hacked. I will need to create a new Telegram, probably to save my family, to send my friends, and etc. But come on. So many examples on the market where Telegram was hacked of CTO, co-founders of security firms. Yes? And what happened? They actually were on the market for 8-7 years. They have so many contacts. They get so many messages. People trust them a lot. And it's not only about brand damage. It's actually potentially you can be under risk with everyone. So even if you see message from the one guy who was writing you 3 months ago, you should be scary if he's just writing you, hey, let's go on a call, and etc. So if you have any project, if you have any business, you don't need to like underestimate anything. Yeah, I mean, like, so that is why about Telegram, smartphone, links, social media, everything should be like carrying as, I don't know, as much as possible. It takes time for sure, but then if sometimes even if you don't know how to estimate or understand, believe me, just call to this guy from security firms. Everyone will go for the call, will not charge for that, give some advice, and etc. That's true. So probably, as you mentioned, be too lazy, yeah? Yes.
Let me just add one quick thing. Like, I kind of sympathize with you saying that we need more regulation. However, the issue with that approach is that, like, I work with regulators, and if we ask them to regulate DeFi, it would be very similar if they asked the bunch of us to, adjust corporate law. We have no idea about it. Like, we would just do random stuff, and that's exactly what they are doing when they are trying to regulate DeFi. So we need to, fill in with our expertise until they catch up. So let's use, sorry for bragging about our project, but like, let's use what we have. We have L2Bit, which is like, we don't foresee ourselves as regulators, we foresee ourselves as watchdog. But when Vitalik said, I think it was 2 years ago, that he won't be talking about any project that is not stage 1 rollup at least, it incentivized several projects to actually do better. I strongly believe that some projects improved on their security guarantees strictly because of him saying that. So if every one of you would go out there and say that, hey, the minimum requirement that we have for the chain that we will be using is stage 1 rollup, that would help actually push our industry to do better, at least a bit.
I can see the conversation got pretty heated here. But as we are on a panel about security on Ethereum, I do have a question regarding that. And we have, I want to kind of wrap up the conversation with 2 questions. So we're going to have to go a bit quicker, let's say. One of the questions that I have for you is regarding AI. And then we know that right now it's being used both to find vulnerabilities, but also to exploit them. Are these kind of people that are both defenders and attackers kind of winning the race against or on Ethereum?
I can actually start. So we have a bug bounty platform, and we are receiving a lot of reports, a lot. Like, so just to compare, for last few months, we got more reports than for some years together. So it's like a lot. We have lots of mechanisms like paid submissions, reputation points, and etc. They're ready to pay. We even like getting money from paid submissions. It's strange, but more than some projects pay as a monthly subscription. So it doesn't work. By replying your question, so currently what we have, and that actually hackers, good hackers, white hats, they actually use AI to create understandable, readable reports. Of course, they would like to submit as possible everywhere, and they actually do this. But what actually companies do, even Ethereum-based project, they got these reports, and they also work with AI, they work with automation, and etc. And they need to spend more time to actually validate each report. And what happening next? In a few months, you will see a new post on Twitter, in LinkedIn, that someone is leaving bug bounty platform. Doesn't matter which one. They like, it's enough for us, we leave in, no more reports, they don't want. And then they will start receiving reports probably from Google, through Google form or email. They will skip all reports or maybe scanned by some tool. And that's all. So probably they will even ignore some important reports. Yeah. So I do believe because of this AI noise, many companies will start ignoring reports because too much for them, these reports. And opposite side, bad hackers. They have so many open data right now, and they can build agentic AI and actually be concentrated on an attack, and they can plan this attack for months. So currently, I believe white hats losing, and industry losing against black hats. That's all, because we like everyone is tired. Too many stuff around AI is doing new development. Someone is developed, another one is already developed. How many AI auditors even appear for last year? Everyone is AI auditors, AI tool, and etc. What's about the expertise behind, and etc.
Ethereum just put like the DAO fund right now has $175 million to spend the security on Ethereum, right?
I run an AI auditing company. All right, my point of view is this. I think you're right. I think we are losing on the white hat side because, number one, I mean, bug bounty programs, it's like a bear market for bug bounties as well. And you report something and there's just like, try to get paid from that. It's very, very hard. You get white hats and go gray hats. You have a lot of SRs with a lot of talent. I'm not saying everyone does this, but there are people that do it. And you know you can run off with the money. That's a problem when you have the skill go to the wrong side. But from like the white hat side, we have AI. Like we built this AI auditing platform that we still say is not 100% guaranteed to find all bugs. That's BS. But we say no one can guarantee security, so you still do this layered approach. We advocate a hybrid audit approach. But we also have seen our AI catch bugs that humans just aren't catching. And so using it responsibly, we could fight back. But there's so many different levels. Like a protocol will take AI, they put a Claude prompt in the repo, and then they say, oh, well, we did an AI audit. We had a skill set up, and this is what I found. So it's fine. So you can misuse it just as much as you could use it properly. It's about educating people that it's not all AI slop, that some tools are built different, some methods are different. But that's how we kind of fight back against this AI onslaught from black hats.
I wanted to give an analogy, which many people probably already know. Security is like a football game. So you have the black hats, which are strikers, and they need to basically just give one goal that reaches the post, and they won, right? They basically win the game. And the defenders, they need to fend against the white hats. They need to fend against all shots. And now imagine with AI, what happened is that the sizes of the teams are distorted because now you suddenly have thousands of attackers on the field and pretty much the same number of defenders, right? So it's a pretty tough job for defenders. So yeah, I would totally agree that attackers are pretty much winning because they have an advantage right now with AI. So we're trying to catch up on the white hat side, and yeah.
But from my perspective, I'm a bit more optimistic about it, probably, because it's true that AI changed the rules of the game. Especially in my opinion, what happened is that suddenly the long tail that in the past was not profitable enough for the black hats to go and spend their time exploring. Now they can simply automate it. So they are looking into those long tails. That's why we are seeing all those weird small libraries that are being used all over the place suddenly getting exploited, because previously nobody was looking into that, and now they can afford to look at everything at once. However, in my opinion, what we will see is probably like the next 6 months is not the best time to build stuff. Like Patrick Collins from Cyprin today tweeted after reporting on another supply chain attack that he would probably give up building anything for the next 6 months to just wait until the dust settles and everything is actually exploited and secured. Because the good thing about like all those black hats attacking everywhere at the same time is that once it gets exploited and fixed, it's not like that the bugs are popping up inside this code again. I've read this very good article about the Mythos experiment on curl, and while initially it was reported that hey, Mythos found 5 critical vulnerabilities in this so widely used tool curl, apparently it wasn't 5, it was 1, and it wasn't that much critical. It's just like low key, so it will get fixed in the next release. So it's such not a critical issue that simply it's not even patched immediately, but it's simply going out with a new release. So, and it's not like that there will suddenly, that better AI will finally find new exploits in curl, because maybe there simply aren't anymore. And I believe that what we are seeing right now is simply covering the field that was not covered before. But after the dust settles, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year from now, we will wake up in a much safer and much more secure digital world.
I just want to add 2 things about AI and Ethereum. Yeah, so first of all, one of actually clients also who has bug bounty, they like, why actually we have to waste so many time on the white hats if actually I can run some tests by AI tool and that's doing my stuff. And he was like made a point that look, this AI finds the issues that no one from white hats posted in my program. And I said to him, that's normal that some AI found something better than someone submitted before. Yes, what if someone could actually exploit this before? So that is why it's not something that you can be angry on someone that someone didn't submit, but you has to be happy that you found this earlier than actually black hats. And also you mentioned about funds and etc. at Ethereum. Is currently what really I like at this moment. There is given if round, yes, where lots of AI open source tools currently participating in these security rounds. It will be finished in 2 days. So if you didn't participate and vote for some projects, you can do it. Yes, so L2Bit is there as well. Our project is there. Is also Seal and many nice, cool projects. So this is something when they, I don't know, when they already verified and approved by market, you can actually use for your needs. But at the same time, doesn't matter how many or how much Ethereum will give as a security rounds. It's still on the user side and business side to make a final decision what to do with it.
So we have 2 more minutes, very quickly. If this panel comes back together in 2 years, what's one of the issues that you think we're still going to be talking about, and what's one thing that you think we're going to have solved?
Unfortunately, we all know the answer, because the same bugs in 2026 were in 2018, and they're still here. and they've reintroduced things with AI vibe coding, and humans getting lazy is the problem. How do we solve that? Like we're going to see that reappear in 2 years, no doubt. I hope that AI on the white hat side helps secure, and I think you have some good points. Like it cleans up a lot of bugs that are outstanding. I think 2 years is a long time in crypto, and plus AI. I mean, I'll be, I think, 60 by the time 2 years hits. I think we'll have made some progress. Honestly, I think the AI rush and the push, people start integrating it more. Ultimately, I'm an optimist. I think we will have a more secure ecosystem. However, this is very much human dependent. So we'll see how that goes.
One thing that I afraid probably on like the reason of this AI and etc. I believe we might see even more centralized projects and access systems than decentralized, to be very honest. So I hope it won't happen. And as Riptide mentioned, same stuff, same issue, same problems as many years ago. Nothing changed. That's all.
So I'm absolutely sure that 2 years from now, I will still be saying that, please stop saying that the only thing that users care about is speed and cost. Like this will not change. But I hope that what will get fixed in 2 years is that we will fight back. Because for too many years, we're just like sitting idly, watching our protocols getting hacked and accepting the fact that it's okay for the bad guys to go to get away with the funds. I think that this year we started fighting back and actually going against those bad guys and trying to hit back at them. And I do hope that we'll get better at this, so that they will not be able to just wander around our space without getting noticed, and we will fight back against them.
So what I hope, what we really accomplish in the next 2 years, is that we on protocol level do the really basic things like verifying everything, having privacy as needed, and having all the things which are now available in place. I hope this we don't have to talk in 2 years. There will be a lot of other topics we might have to talk, but I hope that these fundamental things, we have solved them.
So yeah, I just want to echo what my co-panelists also mentioned. One thing I think will be more hot maybe in 2 years from now is going to be the quantum risk. So it seems like some, I see Jan is very much agreeing. Yeah, it seems like there's certain advances in that field and not sufficient people are talking about that risk. So my bet is that's going to be a hot topic in 2 years. Yeah.
Well, I do believe this was one of the best panels that I've moderated, but I think like some of the panels that the panels that I'm moderating generally, I think like they're some of the best. So I want you to give like a big round of applause to like our speakers today, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I think it was amazing. I want to thank you guys for being with us today. And that's it. I would kindly ask you to leave the stage.